Okay, so it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm doing a government project. Good deal. I'm tackling what is not a really well-known issue. It's not a very controversial issue among most people because they don't really know that it is an issue. The right to physician-assisted suicide, the right to die if you are in poor medical condition and you do not want to live anymore. Personally, I believe that if you do not want to live anymore, if you feel like you are a burden on your family, or you just don't, you suffer from something that's not curable, or you're just in really, really bad shape, but still of sound mind to make the decision that you should end your life, then you should be allowed to do so. There are people that share that opinion with me, and there are unfortunately a significant amount of people that would like to make someone suffer. They want to preserve the sanctity of human life at all costs. Yes, I just did air quotes. Deal with it. One of the first court cases to tackle the issue was actually all the way back in 1976. A woman by the name of Karen Ann Quinlan had gone to a party, and she had been dropped off at home. She had not been eating much because she was on a diet, and she had drank a lot and taken Valium. Well, she had complained of not feeling well, so her friends took her home, and one of them went to check on her. I believe the article said about 15 minutes later she wasn't breathing. They called the ambulance. They took her to the hospital. They put her on a respirator, and a couple months passed, and she never really recovered. She was a vegetable, essentially. Her family, after that time period, had decided to pull the plug. The doctors at the hospital in New Jersey were originally willing to do it until someone, I couldn't ever really find out who, but I believe the authorities said that they would file homicide charges if they did. That case went all the way to the New Jersey Supreme Court, where they ruled that her family did have the authority to make that decision to pull her off a respirator. And they were legally protected from any sort of charges, homicide related. Miss Quinlan proceeded to live about 9 more years because they pulled her off the respirator and she was breathing by herself. But she never came out of her vegetative state. And she died of pneumonia in 1985. Another case was in Missouri in 1990, Cruzan versus the Department of Health of Missouri, which determined that severely injured patients have a right to refuse medical treatment and let themselves die, but states can require clear and convincing evidence of a patient's intent to forego treatment. That's left up to interpretation, and it's the kind of thing that some states nothing will be clear and convincing enough for them. Like a poll tax, like literacy tests for voting, like all that stuff we just talked about. A third case in 1997, Washington versus Glucksberg, determined that the terminally ill do not have a constitutional right to physician-assisted suicide. States are allowed to craft their own laws to deal with the issue in whatever way they feel like is best. A particular state that has decided to spend a lot of time dealing with the issue is Oregon. Who cares about Oregon? Well, they're important to this project, so I care about Oregon for right now. The Death with Dignity Act, passed in 1994 and upheld 3 years later in 1997, stated that physician-assisted suicide is lawful, but only physician-assisted suicide. There is also what is called voluntary euthanasia, which is a lethal injection. That is not legal in the United States to do that anywhere. Physician-assisted suicide is a doctor prescribing you drugs that will kill you. Screensaver just come on. It's late. I'm tired. I'm trying to hurry. Physician-assisted suicide is when a doctor prescribes you drugs that will kill you. You ingest them and you die. That in Vermont is legal. They can do that, but the doctor cannot the doctor cannot euthanize you. It's also legal in the Netherlands, Germany, and Japan, but in Germany and Japan it's pretty taboo. It's not really something that they like to do. A couple other states actually are dealing with the issue too. Vermont and Hawaii are crafting similar laws based off of the Oregon law, actually. Like I said before, I believe that if you are of sound mind and you have determined that due to medical reasons you should no longer live, if you feel like you're just suffering, things like that, then you should have the right to decide to end your life. And you should be able to find a doctor to assist you and tie up any loose ends. Our government is split pretty evenly on the issue. Those that actually voice an opinion on it one way or the other. And I see this has gone over. So yeah, that's my presentation. It's late. I'm tired. I'm sorry. Hi everybody. This is what I look like after work. Bye.